I'm sitting in the car with my mom, and we are on our way to pick up a new truck for my dad. Through the window beside me, I see a land that's checkered with patches of light. The sun rays coming through the clouds like a cracked plate that's been glued together and dusted with gold. With the light coming through the window, I find myself weaving the fingers through the beams and thinking about this song my dad would sing when I was younger. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You know the one. When I was younger, I had a lot of nicknames, but Sunshine was always my favorite because, well, to me, my dad was the sun. I was still in the car, but my mind had carried me off into a different time, a time when my universe was heliocentric. Everything revolved around my dad. My grades, my athletic performance, my favorite books. These were the gravitational pulls towards him. My dad never made me feel like I needed to earn his respect, but I had joy in carrying it. It was a responsibility I was proud to have. Oftentimes that came in the form of witty dinner conversations. Carly, what are you reading right now? Anything good? I'm reading that book you gave me last year, the one about that guy who built schools in Pakistan. My dad would smile, cross his arms, and lean against the counter. Isn't he amazing? I have another one like that for you when you're done. When my dad spoke to me, I felt like the most important person in the world. He didn't just listen to me, he heard me. My dad's expectations allowed me the opportunity to explore, while my mom's expectations limited me to her perceptions. With my mom, I could never quite fit the profile of her ideal daughter, perpetually on the second place box of a winner's podium. Yet my mom was beloved by everyone around her. Sometimes I felt like she wanted to be a mom to everybody but me. But what could I do? I knew something was missing. I knew something was wrong. How do you fix something when you don't know what's broken? My mom was rarely in a good mood, and when she was, the smallest thing could snap her out of it. In an instant, the storm cloud would come rolling in, thunderous steps shaking the entire house. I began to notice how little I got to see my dad. I knew work kept him late, but in the back of my mind, I thought it was my mom really keeping him away from the house, away from our family, away from me. My little heart broke every time I heard the garage door slam, hoping my dad would come through the door, only to see a man I didn't recognize, one wrought with exhaustion. Let me take you a little farther forward in the future. At dinner, the table was set for 3, not 4. The work boots that used to find themselves by the couch were nowhere to be seen. In my parents' room, the carpet imprint of my dad's dresser left stark against the area around it like a chalk outline that couldn't be scrubbed from the crime scene. My little brother, Caleb, didn't see what I saw because, well, he's a little brother. They don't think about much. But I did. I saw it. And I thought, am I really the only one seeing this difference in my dad? Parents don't realize how closely their kids are watching them. They don't realize what we see, how much we hear, how easily we can tell when something just isn't right. There's a storm brewing in my household, and I want to tell you about the first time I truly felt it, when it punched me in the gut. It was well into the evening when my mom had ushered my brother and I into the kitchen. My dad already sat at the head of the table. My mom spoke first. Your dad is under a lot of stress because of retirement, and he and I agree that we need a break. I looked at my dad, his silence in agreement with the words my mom was saying. I don't understand. Does this mean you're getting a divorce? No, Dad's just going to spend some time away for a while. That is all. As these words were circling through my mind, all I could think of is, this isn't what I want. Why doesn't my dad speak up for himself? Doesn't he know that I need him? In my mind, the story was clear. My mom wanted order. She wanted a world shaped entirely by her will. She was forcing us into a choice. And if I had to choose, I knew what my choice would be. Back in the car, a voice disturbed my thoughts, pulling me back into the passenger seat. Sitting next to my mom, I could almost forget pretend that we were different people. But then, of course, I hear, so how are your grades? Are there any B's? Well, Mom, my grades are fine. Okay, well, if that's becoming an issue, you need to get on it, okay? Okay, Mom, you don't need to micromanage every aspect of my life. I could see the corners of her mouth turn down, clear disapproval at my tone. Mom, have you ever stopped to think about how much you constantly berate me? I get it. I'm not what you wished for, but if you would just give me a chance to breathe, maybe I wouldn't feel like I'm suffocating. Maybe Dad would feel the same way and come home. My mom paused, glanced at me briefly, and then turned back to the wheel. Carly, can I tell you something? Something important? Yes. Your dad has been having an affair. You know that moment when everything feels too alive? Your skin feels like it's vibrating, your throat is filled all the way down to your stomach. You can hear everything that's going on, but it all feels muffled, like you're just under the surface of reality. Well, for me, that's a feeling I'll never forget. I've lost the details, but I remember that feeling. For the rest of the car ride, I wasn't really thinking about my mom, and I wasn't really thinking about my dad. I was thinking about me. Because my story, the story I've been telling you, myself, it was wrong. All of it. In my certainty, I had placed blame where it did not belong. I had blamed my mom, not out of certainty, but out of comfort. Took years to pull myself from a pit of guilt and shame that I found myself in. I didn't believe I deserved joy, but I hadn't earned the right to grieve either. Even years after that day in the car, I didn't ask questions. And truthfully, I didn't want to ask questions. I didn't want to go searching for answers that I might very well find. As my relationship with my mom grew, and so did I learned what she endured. And I had a conversation with her that just shocked me to my core. Carly, I'm going to have to tell your grandparents. Tell them what has happened with Dad and I. It was the implication that somehow this was her fault, that her husband's infidelity was her responsibility. Well, now her words seem almost silly. My mom wasn't responsible for this. She was not at fault. So why doesn't that same logic apply to me? Am I really trapped? Or have I locked myself in a cage? When I look at pictures of myself then, I realize the person I criticized so harshly isn't myself, but a little girl. A little girl who thought that she was doing the right thing by putting blame on either her mom or her dad. I carried a responsibility that was not mine to bear. And the only way to let that responsibility go was forgiveness. Forgiveness for my mom, forgiveness for my dad, and forgiveness for myself. My mom forgave my dad out of love for me and my brother. My mom, who was content to let me hold the sun up high, even though I couldn't see below the clouds. Forgiveness isn't easy, but it is the only thing which allows us to love each other anew. I'm an adult now, and I still go back to that song my dad would sing when I was younger. Only this time I cherish different verses. To experience the true message, the beauty of humanity, you have to step back to see the whole picture. Humans are imperfect. We make mistakes and we disappoint each other. And if you look at humanity by their mistakes, well, it would seem that we're a pretty helpless bunch. My love for my dad cannot be determined by the mistakes he has made. Otherwise, there's no person to love. I refuse to make that sacrifice. My mom forgave my dad out of love for me and my brother. I forgave my dad because I wanted that same choice. We all have that same choice. We all make mistakes, and they may be big or they may be small. They may hurt someone you love, or you might be the person who's hurt because of the mistake that somebody else made. But you must remember, You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.